In ancient Greece, using the bathroom was a completely different experience than today. Imagine this: communal toilets with no partitions, where privacy was a luxury few could afford. People would gather, chatting and laughing while attending to their business, turning a mundane task into a social event. Instead of toilet paper, they relied on a sponge on a stick, yes, a shared sponge. After use, it was rinsed in a bucket of water and passed along. It's hard to believe, but for them, this was just part of daily life. The Greeks truly knew how to blend the practical with the social, making even the most private moments a communal affair. The gym, as we know it, has roots that are quite surprising. The word gymnasium comes from the Greek word gymnos, which means naked. Yes, you heard that right. In ancient Greece, men exercised completely nude. They believed it honored the gods and allowed for the ultimate freedom of movement. Imagine training for the Olympics without a stitch of clothing. This practice wasn't just about physical fitness, it was a celebration of the human body, a tribute to strength and beauty. Athletes competed in the nude, showcasing their physiques, and it was all part of a culture that revered athleticism. So next time you step into a gym, remember its origins, where the pursuit of fitness was as much about spirit as it was about the body. In most Greek city-states, women were treated as second-class citizens. Imagine living in a world where you couldn't vote, own land, or even step outside without a male escort. It was a life of confinement and limitation. But then there was Sparta, a remarkable exception. Here, women enjoyed rights that were unheard of elsewhere in Greece. They could own property, receive an education, and even train in combat. Spartan women were strong, both physically and socially, playing a crucial role in their society. While other Greek women were relegated to the shadows, Spartan women stood tall, embodying a unique blend of freedom and strength. In Sparta, they weren't just wives and mothers, they were warriors in their own right. Imagine living in ancient Greece, where beauty standards were as unique as the art itself. A thick unibrow was the ultimate symbol of intelligence and allure in women. Forget about the perfectly groomed brows we obsess over today. Back then, a unibrow was a coveted feature. Women who weren't naturally blessed with this striking look would resort to some creative methods, drawing them on with soot or animal fat. Can you picture that? The more pronounced the unibrow, the more attractive and wise a woman was perceived to be. It's fascinating how beauty ideals shift over time. What was once a mark of beauty is now often hidden away. So, next time you see a unibrow, remember, in ancient Greece, it was a badge of honor. Imagine stepping into a world where bathing was an art form. In ancient Greece, instead of soap, they used olive oil. Yes, olive oil. They'd slather it all over their bodies, creating a luxurious lather that felt like liquid gold. But here's the twist: after the oil, they'd take a strigil, a curved metal tool, and scrape off the dirt and sweat. It was like a spa treatment and a workout rolled into one. And if that wasn't enough, some even rubbed sand on their skin before scraping it off. This exfoliation technique left their skin feeling fresh and rejuvenated. It's fascinating to think about how these practices shaped their views on cleanliness and beauty. Who knew that the secret to their radiant skin was just a little olive oil and sand? In ancient Greece, public drunkenness was a social faux pas, a mark of disgrace. Yet, paradoxically, at symposia, it was not just accepted but celebrated. Picture this: elite men gathering in lavish settings, wine flowing freely, laughter echoing off the walls. These were not mere drinking parties, they were intellectual battlegrounds. Debates sparked over goblets of wine, where philosophy and politics intertwined with revelry. As the night wore on, the atmosphere transformed. Dancers twirled, musicians strummed, and courtesans captivated the crowd, blurring the lines between high culture and indulgence. Here, intoxication was a badge of honor, a rite of passage into the world of the elite. It was a space where the constraints of society melted away, allowing men to explore ideas, forge connections, and, of course, enjoy the pleasures of life, without the stigma of public disapproval. In the end, it was all about balance, the fine line between decorum and debauchery, celebrated under the warm glow of flickering oil lamps. Imagine living in a society where the mere taste of luxury could make you weak. That was the Spartan way of life. Their diet was famously austere, centered around a notorious dish known as black soup, made from pig's blood, salt, and vinegar. To most Greeks, it was downright revolting. But for Spartans, it was a badge of honor, a testament to their discipline. They believed that indulgence led to softness, and softness led to defeat. While the rest of Greece feasted on rich meats and fine wines, Spartans thrived on simplicity, training their bodies and minds to withstand any challenge. In their eyes, the true strength lay not in what you ate, but in how you lived. In ancient Greece, courtship took on a peculiar form, especially among the elite. Picture this: a young boy, on the brink of manhood, suddenly finds himself the center of attention, not from his peers, but from older men. This was pederasty, a controversial yet socially accepted practice where older men would abduct teenage boys, not out of malice, but as part of a mentorship ritual. These relationships were complex, blending education with intimacy. The older men, often warriors or politicians, would guide their young protégés through the intricacies of adult life, teaching them about politics, warfare, and even philosophy. While this bond was meant to foster growth, it also raised ethical questions that echo through history. In a society that valued strength and intellect, these strange rituals reveal a fascinating, albeit troubling, aspect of ancient Greek culture, where the line between mentorship and manipulation was often blurred. In ancient Athens, democracy was a privilege reserved for a select few. Picture this: only free male citizens had the right to vote, while women, slaves, and foreigners, who made up the vast majority of the population, were completely sidelined. Imagine the irony of a system that prided itself on freedom and equality, yet excluded so many from the decision-making process. Women, despite their vital roles in society, were denied a voice. Slaves, who labored tirelessly, had no stake in the laws that governed their lives. And foreigners, often contributing to the economy and culture, were left out in the cold. This was democracy in Athens, a powerful idea, but one that fell short of true inclusivity. It raises the question: can a democracy truly thrive when it silences so many? Imagine waking up with a pounding headache after a night of revelry in ancient Greece. What's the remedy? Deep-fried canaries. Yes, you heard that right. They believed that the grease from these little birds would absorb the alcohol and cure their hangovers. It's wild to think that while philosophers were debating the nature of existence, people were munching on fried canaries to feel better. Ancient Greece was not just about lofty ideas, it had its own quirky and messy side. Who knew that a hangover cure could be so bizarre? It really makes you appreciate modern remedies, doesn't it? Ancient Greece wasn't just about philosophy and democracy, there was a wild and dirty side too. Which fact surprised you the most? Make your comment, subscribe, and like.